Hello all, Dominic Trophy again, welcome to another video. Hope you're having a great weekend so far. Hope things have been going well for you this week overall. And I hope life in general for all of you is going great. So this video is going to be a continuation of my Sega Retro Thoughts mini-series. On Tuesday, I uploaded part 1, which was my thoughts of Sega support on the Wii Virtual Console, where they released Mega Drive and Master System games on there. And I shared my thoughts and, views about it. And this one is going to be about my thoughts of Sega's retro support on the 3DS Virtual Console and the eShop. Now, sorry about that. Now, as you can see here, I've got the new 2DS XL. And if you wondered, these games will work on every model of the 3DS. So if you wondered, why... will it work on my 3DS? All these games, the Game Gear Virtual Console and the Sega 3D Classics work on every single version of the new 3DS. So it will be. Whether or not you've got the original 3DS, the original 3DS XL, the original 2DS, the new 3DS, the new 3DS XL, and the new 2DS XL, blimey, that's a lot of 3DSs. It will all work on every single model. So it will do. So you're fine there. In case you wondered, nothing to worry about. So yeah, the first thing I'll mention about are the Game Gear games. Now the thing with Sega support of retro titles on the 3DS, we got Game Gear games and we also got Sega 3D Classics. So I'll talk about the Game Gear games first. Now, the Game Gear games were a really, really nice addition to the 3DS. Not only was it Sega's, entrance of bringing the Virtual Console to Nintendo's newest handheld at the time, it was also the first non-Nintendo handheld to be added to the Virtual Console on 3DS, which was absolutely amazing. Now, the way that these games are played, play on the 3DS, is that they actually run through emulation, and that work was actually done by M2. As well as Sega. Now, as I mentioned in the part 1 video on Tuesday, M2 pretty much are the ones that port and emulate a lot of these Sega classics on modern platforms, so they do. And they play really, really well. The emulation that they use is very pristine. It feels like you're actually playing it on the original hardware, even though you're not. And it just feels really, really nice playing these, these classic Sega portable games on a handheld. And it's just fantastic that they brought new life on the 3DS, which is fantastic. Because, for example, like myself, I am someone that never grew up with the Game Gear. It came out before I was born. And even though it was, I think I was about a couple of years old when it was discontinued, I didn't know it, so I didn't. My family didn't have one, and obviously I didn't really know what it was. And that's just, how it goes, so it does. So the once the Game Gear games came to 3DS, I was really, really excited. For I can definitely try out these games and see what they're like. And I purchased, a few of them, and I quite enjoyed playing them because it was not only a new experience, but I was also experiencing, some great retro classics from the past that I'd never played. And that's a really, really good thing about this. This is why I like a lot of these, I like it when a lot of these companies, re-release a lot of their old classics on the new systems so that you can actually experience it. And it's a good thing for a lot of younger children who may have never played any of these old Sega games. You know what I mean? And it's a really, really good thing. I know Atari, again, they're the same. They've re-released their classics on the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, the Nintendo Switch, and even PlayStation Vita. You know what I mean? And when those collections started coming out a couple of years ago, I got really, really excited because I could play these great classic Atari games on the new consoles, which was fantastic. And it was a great, thing to have. And I really, really liked that. So I do. So for Sega to also do that was a great addition, and I loved that. I really, really did. The problem with it was there wasn't a lot of support for it. So there wasn't, which was a bit of a shame, really. And the reason why that happened was because of the fact that there were the Game Gear games on 3DS did not sell that well. And because of that, Sega pretty much cancelled support and future support at that point after that. Which is a shame, really, because there would have been more Game Gear games I would have loved to have seen. For example, one that Capcom made was Mega Man on Game Gear. And I've actually played that, so I have. Not on a Game Gear, but on my mobile phone. My previous mobile phone that I had, I downloaded a Game Gear emulator and downloaded the game and had a great time with it. It's a really, really good game. And it's such a shame that that game has never seen a re-release. That'd be fantastic. You know what I mean? Like, you know, Capcom keep re-releasing the Mega Man games. That'd be an absolutely amazing one to have. You know what I mean? Re-release it on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch. That'd be absolutely fantastic. That'd get a lot of people happy, so it would be. So, yeah. So that's just how it goes and stuff. Overall, there were 16 Game Gear games re-released on the 3DS. And there's some great ones on there that are well worth playing. Obviously, you got the great, you know, classic Sonic games. So you've got Shinobi, you've got Shining Force, and there's some good ones on there that are well worth trying. And I did eventually buy all 16 off the eShop over the years, so I did. And I was quite happy because there's some great ones on there that are well worth the time to play. And that's just, you know, the way it goes and stuff. But it's definitely a well worth experience if you've never ever played these. And I like that. For a while, I was actually playing Game Gear games on the 3DS more than my actual Game Gear. Because, well, not only is this newer, but I could also, I think, experience games I actually don't own on the Game Gear. So I can play them on this and, you know, have a good time and stuff. But yeah, emulation, bloody pristine. You know what I mean? M2 are the I you know, count them as like the superstars of Sega classic ports. You know what I mean? Which is really, really good. They port and emulate classic Sega games. Absolutely amazing. And I always give them bloody credit. I really, really do, because they are well worth the time and effort to talk about and, you know what I mean, experience these great classics. And I love that. So now I'll talk about the Sega 3D classics. Now, Sega wasn't the first one to start releasing 3D classics on the 3DS. That was actually Nintendo. They started re-releasing, they started, you know, porting NES games, adding like 3D effects and all that sort of stuff on the 3DS. I think it was mid-2011. I think it was like June or July, I'm not entirely sure, 2011. And it was great to see these, you know, these classics on there, and they got me really, really excited that they were enhanced better, and it was great to play these, you know what I mean, sort of new ported NES games on the 3DS, which was fantastic. Unfortunately, Nintendo did not release a lot of them on there, so they didn't. They only released 5 on there, so they did, and then they stopped to port immediately, which is a bit of a shame, really, because that would have been absolutely fantastic. But, yeah, that's just how it goes. And then, I think the following year later, Sega started re-releasing a lot of their classics on the 3DS under the name Sega 3D Classics. And to me, it was the best support that we got from Sega on, I think, on any device. I think, and again, you know, people might say, oh, well, there was one other device that I like that were better. But again, this is my opinion. For a handheld to play classic Sega games, 3D enhanced, fantastic. And I loved that. I really, really loved that. And it was great. There was a lot of great, you know, classics from the Master System and the Mega Drive that were ported on the into 3D with the 3D effect on the 3DS. Fantastic. And one of the things that we did see was that we did see a physical collection on the 3DS. This is the game card here. Sega 3D Classics. And I absolutely love this collection. I think it was phenomenal. It was really, really good. It was a shame that it took so damn long for Sega Europe to bring this over. Because I kept wondering, thought, when the heck are we going to get this? This is the problem with flipping the UK and Europe when you release games and they take so damn bloody long. Also, you know, with the 3DS being region locked as well. Yeah, so we actually got the collection in November 2015, and I was really, really excited for it. I remember early that year, you know, Sega started. There was an announcement from Sega Europe saying, "Oh, Sega 3D Classics collection finally coming to the UK and Europe," and I was like, "Yay! Thank God!" You know what I mean? Because it was something that I wanted to play, and I was like, "Come on, when the flip are we gonna get this?" You know what I mean? And we finally got it, and it was so exciting. It really, really was, and I loved that. I really, really did. It was just phenomenal. It was a really, really good thing. But the games that were released on it through this were again phenomenal. We saw, you know, Sonic 1 and 2 on here, so we did. We saw Streets of Rage 1 and 2. It's a shame the third one was never ported over because it would have been absolutely fantastic. We saw other games on there which were just well worth the time, and I liked it and stuff. For a while, with the Sega 3D Classics, yeah, I'm saying Sega 3D Classics a lot in this, so I am. So sorry about that. You know, people might be moaning, "Stop saying Sega 3D Classics, stop saying it." Sorry. If that annoys you, sorry. Can't help that. Flipping nerds, what's wrong with you lot? I don't mean the subscribers mean, but like crazy people go, stop saying Sega 3D Classics. So sorry about that, I was saying, but yeah, we got a lot of good stuff on it, and that is one thing I really, really liked. Just phenomenal. And for a while, it was the one thing that really kept me playing on the 3DS for a while. You know, these great classic Sega games from the Master System, the Mega Drive, on here, which were really, really good. Even Afterburner. Afterburner was ported to the 3DS, you know, through the Sega 3D, you know, classics and stuff. It's just great, you know what I mean? And I liked that. I really, really did. It's unfortunate they did stop support, but which is understandable. But from the release that we got, were fan-flipping-tastic. Just fan-flipping-tastic. Just great. To see so much support of those old classic games on this. And I said before, M2, you know, also ported these over. Really, really good. And it was fun. It was just a great thing to see on it. It was a great addition to have on the 3DS. And to me, it felt that Sega was one of the best third-party developers on this. Yes, granted, they were releasing, you know, Sonic games and all that sort of stuff on the 3DS, as well as the Wii U. But for classic retro Sega goodness, this was one of the best devices or best game consoles to have to play these games. Really, really good. Now, one thing I want to mention is with the collection, the physical collection of this. I actually do have it. I do actually have 2 copies. I bought it digitally, and then I bought it digitally, and then I got a physical copy for my birthday. So I did. Now it first came out at the end of 2015. So it did, and I was really, really excited for it. And what ended up happening was, I remember after it came out, going into several different stores, and none of them had it in. None of them had the game, which was a bit weird. You know what I mean? I thought it's a bit strange. I remember Game weren't carrying the game. Same with Granger Games when they were still around. And they just didn't have it. And I thought, that's a bit weird. So it is. And what ended up happening was, after I'd purchased it digitally, I found out a couple of days after that a store over in the UK called Argos was the only one selling physical copies. You know what I mean? Which is weird. You know what I mean? And I remember looking in the catalogues, because this retail store, they have catalogues, they do. But you can also look online and buy stuff online. They didn't have it. And I thought it was a bit weird. And then it turned out it was only sold online. So it was. And then a couple of months later, they ended up selling it in store. So they did. And weirdly enough, Argos is the only retail store that sell brand new copies. Obviously, you can buy secondhand copies off eBay or whatever, or CEX. But Argos is the only store to this day that still sells brand new copies of that game. For example, Game, they don't sell the game. Other retail stores don't sell it, which is weird, you know what I mean? But that's the way it goes. So when it first came out, I bought it digitally. I had a lot of fun with it, and it was just a great collection. And then the following year, when I turned 21, I got a physical copy for my birthday, and again I still enjoyed it, so I did. And it's well worth it and stuff. A great collection and stuff. Great classics. I know in Japan they actually got 3 volumes physically, whereas we only got the first one. Oh, we only got one, but it was technically the second volume that we got, but it was branded as the first one. So it was just weird and stuff. So yeah, that's just the way it goes and stuff. But yeah, the Sega 3D Classics, fantastic, really good, well worth your time. And I think Sega retro support on the 3DS, absolutely fantastic, and I love that. I really did. I think, thank you Sega for the great support you gave the 3DS. Absolutely well worth it. You deserve that round of applause, so you do. So yeah, I just want to say I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you found it really interesting and stuff. Part 3 will be about the Sega Ages releases on the Nintendo Switch. That'll be the third and final part, so it will be, which will be uploaded on Tuesday. So it will be. So I just want to say thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Hope things go well for the rest of you today and tomorrow as well. And just enjoy life. That's all I can say, really. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all later. Bye.